Well, in Australia it's winter time, and winter time means lots of bowls of soup, and we need cosies to keep those soup bowls nice and warm. We don't want to burn the hands. So I had a request asking me to demonstrate the bowl cosies, and so that's what I'm going to do today. My name's Elizabeth and I like to sew smart. Now, bowls come in all shapes and sizes, so this is where you need to pay particular attention. And because you are putting this bowl cover, this cosy, into the microwave, as you know, you may not put anything with any metallic anything metallic on it at all in the microwave. It will spark and you could ruin it. So just remember, the fabrics you choose must be 100% cotton. The batting that you use must also be 100% cotton, and any threads that you use have to be the same, 100% cotton. That way you keep yourself safe. Now, if you were making a bowl cozy just for ice cream, that would be fine, but do remember, if you make one of those, you don't put that ever in the microwave. Now, I've got sort of flat bowls, and I've got just an ordinary bowl that we use. Now, the bowl fits nice and snugly into the cozy, so you need a tape measure. You can't use your ruler for this, and what you have to do is you have to measure from the edge of one side of the bowl right across to the other. Now, this measures 8 inches. I need to add at least an inch or an inch and a half onto that. So we'll say, I've done this one actually 10 inches that it's sitting in. I did them all 10 inches. So when you make the bowl cozy, remember you have to measure it and add that inch and a half on, because that will make your cozy nice and you won't burn your fingers at all. This cozy is slightly different. It still takes my original bowl and fits really nicely, but it's got rounded edges. So I'll show you in a little while. All we'll have to do with that is, instead of having a square on the edge, we're just going to put something round on, draw a line round and cut it off there, just to make that slightly different. So if you were giving this for a gift and you want it to look just a little bit different, you can curve these corners instead. I'm going to demonstrate the one with the square corners purely because that's a little bit more simple for you. And the first step is choose your fabric. I've got one darker fabric and a contrast for this, but I'm actually going to use this nice bright yellow. This is some kind of food, I think. It's a chip of some kind, and a contrasting spot. So all I have done is I've got my two fabric pieces, 10-inch squares, and I have 2 of the cotton wadding. All I'm going to do is place each one of the fabric squares nice and neatly onto the batting, and I have drawn a diagonal line using the friction pen on both of them, and I'm just going to stitch using a 3.5 stitch diagonally across both pieces. I've just stitched across diagonally corner to corner on both of them, just through the top fabric and the wadding. And what I'm going to do now, because we need to make this little dart in the side here that gives it the stand up. So how we do that is we're going to fold this in half, raw edge to raw edge, and you've got the V coming down from your stitch line. Now be very careful that you don't get a crease in here, because you'll get a crease in your dart if you do. So just pull that out nicely, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a ruler and we're going to measure 1 inch up from the fold on this side, at the bottom on the fold, 1 inch up, make a mark, and then we're going to go 2 inches in and make another little mark. Join those two together with your iron off pen, making the little dart shape. We'll do that on both sides. So we're going to go 2 inches in on there and 1 inch up on there, join it. Now I've marked it. I will do exactly the same on the other side after we've stitched this, but like I said, make sure you haven't got any crease in your fabric. Just pop a pin in there and a pin in there, and I'm going to stitch down from there to there, and then I'll come back, open it the other way and do the darts in the top and the bottom. I stitched in reverse at the beginning and at the end of those. That gives it a bit more strength so that when you're turning and using it and washing it, you won't have any threads come adrift. So that has made my 2 side darts, as you can see. So we've got the 2 there. Now we're going to turn this around and put those 2 together. You can see that there. A fold at the bottom. Again, bring it out. Don't let it get any extra folds of fabric in. Blunt pin, I think. The same on the other side. Make sure you've got it lined up. Bring it out. Pop a pin in. And I'm going to do exactly the same thing. From the bottom here, I'm going to mark 1 inch up from the bottom fold. 1 inch. And then I'm going to measure 2 inches in again, and another mark there. Join those 2 little marks. I'll do the same on this side. Bring the fabric right out. 2 inches in on the bottom and 1 inch from the bottom edge again, and draw your line across. So I will stitch across there and across there again, just as I said before. Remember to reverse stitch at the beginning, at the end, and then I will turn it or stand it up, and we're going to trim these off at 1/4 of an inch. So you can see our bowl cozy is taking shape, but we're left with these pieces here, which we're going to cut off at 1/4 of an inch. So I'll just cut each one off. And the reason I do that is because I'm going to trim back this wadding. When you come to join the 2 pieces together, that's this piece and the piece I have in my hand, you don't want too much bulk there, because that makes 4 layers of wadding, which is quite thick in the middle there. So I'll just cut all of these off at 1/4 of an inch and trim back that wadding. And remember, don't cut into your seam lines. That's one. Oops. And the last one. Just cut him off. I think I might need a new blade. So all I will do, reaching for something I didn't think I had, is I'm just going to trim that down to there and snip off this wadding just pretty close to the stitch line, so you end up with just the fabric and the wadding, the thickness. Then you haven't got to push that under your needle when you come to join the top and the bottom pieces together. So I'll do that on all 4. I will repeat all of this for my top fabric, and then I'll come back and show you how to put that together. So I have taken off the little piece of extra wadding and I've pressed these open, and that makes it much more flatter, so that when I come to put my 2 pieces together, they will be a lot thinner to sew over. So right sides together, top and bottom, matching up the sides, so you can match up your seams on the side much easier. So I'll just pin those. All the way around. Match them up, match the corners up. Now when I come to sew, I'm going to sew a generous 1/4 of an inch around the edge of it. I need a stop and a start and a gap to turn it inside out. So I'm going to leave approximately 2.5 inches on this straight side. Don't go right up to that seam or right up to the corner. Come in a little bit, stop and start in a little bit, and finish in a little bit there. Just leave that gap for turning inside out, and just use a generous 1/4 of an inch all the way around. I've turned it inside out after stitching around, and note that you've got your seams where your darts are, they match up nicely. In the corners you've got the stitch lines that match up. I've pinned this is the opening that I've turned it through, just pinned it together, and now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stitch 1/8 of an inch top stitch all the way around. Now keep your seams rolled full out, and just be careful when you come to the dart seams, because you have got extra layers of fabric there. Just guide it through, gently through, move it through underneath your needle with care. I've top stitched all the way around 1/8 of an inch and given it a little bit of a press. You can press it a bit more if you like. My bowl will fit snugly into there, which will make it really nice. You can hold your nice hot bowl of soup and it won't burn you. Now should you have, let me pop that one there for a minute, should you have a bowl that's deeper and doesn't have the flute on the side, just remember you can make that fit better by just increasing the size of your darts, bringing them in a little bit, and then that will fit snugly as well. There's no end to what you can make with these. I've cut out a bigger square because I'm going to make 2 flat plate covers, little cosies, because I've often put something in on a plate in my microwave and reheat it. So just increase the size of your squares after you've measured your plate, as I showed you earlier. So you could give a gift of these to somebody who's had a new kitchen fitted. That would make a really nice gift. 4 or 6 of these, all done in their new colours, would be really nice. You could do a birthday party even, or make some for ice cream bowls, smaller ones for ice cream bowls out at a picnic, which would really be nice. So there's no end to what you can make with this one pattern. I hope you've enjoyed making these bowl cozies with me, and I hope you'll go on to make different ones and different shapes and sizes. And if you have enjoyed this, then give us a thumbs up, like and subscribe, and remember to visit my Etsy shop where there is a pattern for this and for all my other projects that we've done. And if you've had fun, then I hope you'll join me again next time for another new project.